Here's the truth. You don't need a commission sheet, you don't need a website, and you don't need a fancy platform to get art clients. Instead, learn this chill method to talk to any art client and sell your art to them, how to handle all client objections, and I'll also handle your objections. Because this works for anybody and will make you more money. Here's how it works. So what you want to do in order for this method to work is, first off, start with a post on any platform that you want to use, and it's going to follow this basic formula. You want to have your artwork in a slideshow or an offering of different artworks, just like you're seeing my Reddit post right here. Now, if you're not sure where to post this, I do have my own recommendations of where to go and certainly where not to go. You can check out those videos in the description. But here's the basics. You want to go ahead and tell people what you're going to offer, and then you want this call to action. Ask them to DM you. Now, what you'll notice is that there's absolutely no pricing listed. There's no starting price. And this is the secret to how we're going to start off today. You just want a call to action because you want to have a conversation with them before you go ahead and price them at all. And look, I know what you're thinking. Won't clients ignore me? That's really not a problem, and I'll discuss that today too. And you also might be thinking, well, does this work for me? Let me tell you that I've taught this to thousands of artists like you, and I've also used it myself. And here's what you can expect. You don't need to have any level of experience. You don't need to have any specific level of artwork. And you definitely don't need to have a stupid following for this to work and for clients to reach out to you here. And if you've never met me before, my name is Dr. Sean, and welcome to the Art Mentor. And so let me teach you the advantages of using a more conversation-based system in order to sell your art and how to talk to art clients in a way that is not slimy. It's not going to be cringe. It's actually just really chill. It's actually just going to be really conversational. You're going to feel like you're just talking to a friend through this. And now, as you might hear me say this, that you have to talk to somebody, you might be like, well, Sean, I don't have all that time for all that silly talking you're talking about. And I just want to put to you like this. Do you have 5 to 10 minutes? Is 5 to 10 minutes worth a few $100s for you potentially? Because if so, is 5 to 10 minutes worth hundreds of dollars to you? Because if so, that's all it takes. Now, here's how this is going to work. All right, the hunt begins here, y'all. So you're first off gonna get something like this where a client's gonna reach out to you and they're gonna say something to the effect of, hey, love your artwork, saw your artwork here, XYZ a place, and how much are your rates? And now this is usually where everybody screws up and everything crumbles. And people will say they have a conversation, but this is where it stops. So what you do not slap out your prices. Do not slap out your commission sheet. Clients will always lead with pricing. It's super common. Do not rush it. Now instead, we want to redirect them back to having a conversation. I would say, hey, thanks so much for reaching out right here so that I can give you an informed quote. What can you tell me about what you have in mind? Usually after saying this, the client will start to immediately detail what they have in mind for the project. However, though, sometimes clients are super forceful and they're just going to be like, I just want to know your pricing. Tell me how much it is. I just want to get an idea for rates. And this is typically where you're going to panic. Don't give into it. Instead, here's how you want to redirect it, just like this. Just say, as you might imagine, every single artwork has different unique qualities. And therefore, there are different complexities to it. And in order to give you an informed rate, I really love to learn more about the details so that I can give you an informed quote. See how I did that? I handled their objections, but I also helped them understand why do we need to converse about this. And this is also going to help both of you, not just you, not just them. Now you might be thinking, well, Sean, what if they just dump out or they ignore me on this? Chill. I got you on that, but we're going to handle that in a minute. But let's move ahead now. Phase 2 is going to be the intel gathering phase. This is critical, and it's where most people start to underprice themselves and they get nervous. But you really want to make sure that you have a good meaty dialogue, and here's what it would look like. Your job here is very simple. Ask for specifics. So it might take the form of them telling me all of this stuff about their half orc, half human character, and I'm gonna say something to the effect of like, wow, that's really cool. Hey, can you tell me, is this character more human or are they more orc? What is their physique like? Are they very, very muscular? Are they a lot more curvy? What can you tell me about them? And now here's a key thing that I want you to see I'm gonna do right now. Every single time that they tell me something, I'm going to be excited. I want you to respond with enthusiasm every single time. And so in context, it would look like this. Oh, great, I love orcs. Or I don't get to make orcs enough. This is going to be so much fun. Or again, give them something back when they tell you about their weapon and you can say, wow, that's so cool. That sounds amazing. I can't wait to draw this. And so what you're going to do throughout this process, and it's critical here, is you want to gather intel to gather your mental image of what does this look like? What is this going to be in your mind too? And you're helping to clearly establish that communication. What I'm doing is I'm assessing difficulty on it, and I'm assessing how much I want them to pay for it. And again, just to plug it, but in the description, you've got my free resource. I'm going to give you loads of great things that you can say back to them. And now I bet you're ready to slap out a price, right? Nope, don't rush it. I know you're eager to. But here's what you need to do next. Moving into phase 3. This is critical, and it's something that a lot of artists don't do, especially at this phase. And at this point, I want you to go ahead and ask for some specific images that are going to help you understand what the client wants. So here I'm going to say, wow, I'm so excited about this project. Sounds great. Do you have any references? Do you have any inspiration pictures as well for what you'd like this to look like? So here's an example of what you can expect back. So I deal a lot with D&D characters for private clients. Get into the client's mind at this phase, okay? This is super critical because here's the power. You need to go ahead and bridge the gap between your client's expectations and your creative vision of what it could be. And there's always a gap, and your job is to close it through this conversation method so that both of you are happy and both of you are satisfied and you have a lot more money in your bank account from it. Now, what if they don't have any? That's okay. You can move forward with it after the entire conversation is closed. Now, here's a common issue that might come up, and I'm going to tell you it's really not an issue. You might get a lead that sends you some AI-generated image. And I've seen different artists in different circles say that they will tell the client that they will absolutely not use that. They might tell the client that that's not okay. Listen, I just want to put this out to you. This lead is coming to you because they want to pay for your art. Don't interrupt the flow of the conversation and how nice it's been so far by chastising them, by telling them that that's not okay. Just let it go. Obviously, they don't like it that much, otherwise they wouldn't have turned to you. Now, here's how this is going to benefit you. You will have way less revisions from any artwork going forward from here if you're going to probe the client to actually send you what they want and gaining that mental clarity. So far, this is great, and you're responding with enthusiasm, you're telling them the ideas are great, and you're being sincere in that. And here's where we go next. Starting at phase 4 here, sometimes you might get that client that is just ready to go ahead and hear a price tag. And again, this is where you want to kindly redirect them back to the conversation as we go into our last critical things we need to know before we give a quote. So if a client says like, okay, cool, so how much is it? Can you give me a ballpark? One of these gems. You're gonna go ahead and say this. Thank you so much, I really appreciate your time and I loved hearing about your project. I think I know almost everything. I just have a couple quick things I wanna go through. See how I did that? Nice and chill, low pressure. I'm not dismissing them, not being rude. You're just gonna redirect them. Now on phase 4, you need to understand their timeline. When do they want this done? So ask them, I've loved learning about your project. Do you have a specific timeline in mind that you need this done by? And now they're gonna respond back to you with either a specific timeline, or they might say something like this, no, I don't have any specific timeline, take your time, I just want a good quality work. Here's another thing too, if they are gonna need it fast, then you need to go ahead and upcharge. So this also sets you up to be able to price appropriately if they need it done faster. Once they've responded like this and you know exactly what their timeline or lack of timeline is, now we got one last thing to do. Phase 5, this is when you need to understand final details. And it's at this phase that I would say something like this. Is there anything else I should know about this? And so here's what this is all about. You want to give them the opportunity to recall essential elements or essential features that have to be in this artwork. And give them the opportunity to not neglect that, because it sucks when you're already into it and you're already paid and it's like, oh, I forgot this super important thing. And so for me, this client might say like, oh, I forgot to tell you that they also have a magical flying dog companion. Or, oh, they also tend to have 2 other weapons on their belt all the time.
This is your final opportunity again to gauge what you need to do, how much labor is going to be involved in this, big or small, before you go ahead and give your pricing. Then you want to go ahead and make sure that you say this exact phrase before you go ahead and give out a price. Ask them this: and when would you like to start this project? You can tell them that you're open right now. You can just leave it open. Either one's just fine. But here's the major reason why. Is because you need to set your own expectation. And it's going to be one of two ways. They're either just window shopping around and you're a possibility, or they're ready to pull the trigger, or through doing this, you've convinced them to pull the trigger. Now we're ready for the final step here. I just want to do a quick check-in with you as far as why we've done it this way. First and foremost, you might be wondering, well, Sean, why didn't I just slap out a price and get it over with instead of going through all this talking? You, by freelancing, are providing a luxury service. You cannot provide a luxury service at a bargain style method. It will not work for you, and it sets you up for what's called a low perception value. And again, instead of you going through this conversation method, that first time someone asks what's your pricing, you just slap out that commission sheet, you're halting the conversation. You're not inviting it. They're just gonna assess you transactionally based on how much you're willing to charge. You don't want that. And I know you're probably gonna be like, well, what if they don't buy? What if this is a waste of time? Don't worry, we're gonna handle all that in your objections. But y'all, it's critical here. Do not rush the intel gathering phases here. Now here's another great thing about what we've done so far. At this point, you will have known if the client is trying to scam you, and they are in fact a scammer, because they will go forth with the following things. They're gonna put forth at the forefront of the conversation some big price tag that's actually not true. They're gonna also try and redirect everything you say back to, oh, whatever you like, I trust your vision. They're gonna make it seem like you're just a pro and they're just gonna go with the flow. That's nice, but to be honest with you, unless you are somebody who's super established and has a following, and a lot of people like your stuff, they're just trying to scam you. Or they're also gonna push forth some type of an electronic payment, or they're gonna ask for your bank account later on when we talk about payment. Y'all, that is 100% a scam. Never fall for it. But this is how people get scammed, because they don't have this qualifying conversation. But now we're ready for the final phases. Here we go. All right, phase 6. This is the moment you've been waiting for here. You're ready to go ahead and give them a quote, but pause. Now here's what you're not gonna do. You're not just gonna immediately slap out like, it'll be this much. That's a bad way to respond. The first thing that you need to do is say this: I think I've gathered all my information. Are you ready to go ahead and discuss pricing? Here's why you wanna do this. It's really conversational, and you wanna give your client permission to have that conversation. You asking that permission, just like I say right here, this is power, and you're giving it unto them, making sure that they are ready to go ahead and hear a number, all right? Don't ever just slap it out. Now that we're gonna go ahead and give a price, here's how this is going to look. And now there's 3 things you need to give when you're giving a quote. Obviously, number 1 is your rate. Number 2, outline what did they get. And 3, align your expectations. Now here are things not to do. I'm gonna show you some examples right here. Never, and I mean never, use these words. Do not use the word cost. Do not use the word price. Do not use the word payment. Never use these. These are low quality, low value terms that make people think directly about money. We want to lead with value, friend, and that's what this conversation-based method does for them. Number 2, never ask for their budget. Never. Never, never, never ask them how much they want to pay. That takes you out of the power seat. You need to be the driver. You are the captain of this boat. Never ask for a budget. Let them decide if you are worth the value of what they want to spend. And also, for the love of God, don't just slap out a price like this and say, my price is $300, and just leave it on a cliffhanger. Instead, here's how I always say it. I would say, thanks so much for letting me learn about your project. My rate for this, see how I use the word rate, not price, not cost, nothing like that. My rate for this is $300. What you get from this is a beautiful 8K image that's gonna look great on any screen, any monitor. Myself personally, I also write in there that I'm also a YouTuber and I record my processes for your viewing pleasure. And then I never leave on a cliffhanger. I always say this, Jen. How does that work for you? Do you hear how that sounds? Not, can you afford it? Does that work with your budget? I don't care about that. You shouldn't care about that either. Don't be in a weak position. Be in the power position. This is the psychology of how you create a good offer. All right, but now let's discuss what happens after you drop that number on them. Next, what if they actually say, yes, I'd love to move forward. That works for me. Sounds great. What do we do next? This is when you would go ahead and share with them your link, your invoice, whatever payment method that you prefer. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do or what not to do at this moment, but share your preferred payment method with them, okay? Make sure that you follow up. And again, because this is a DM-based conversation, keep it on the platform so that you can continue to go ahead and update them through it. Or if you're like me, I personally like to move all my clients over to Discord. I like Discord best because I tend to find that it's the easiest one to go ahead and keep constant client communication on, and pretty much everybody's on it anyways. It's easy to sign up. But that's the best case scenario, right? At that point, that's great. You're a little richer than when you started this. But what if that doesn't happen? Let's talk about that. All right, let's get negative for a second here. What happens if they don't buy from you? Well, first off, please don't block them, ignore them, ghost them. Also, don't be nasty about it, okay? Don't sulk and don't wail either. Instead, we've done all this work for this specific reason. This puts you in a perfect position to negotiate. Now, you've given that price. Let's say that my price was $350, yes, and they're gonna tell me, oh, that's outside my budget, sorry. Don't just leave it at that. That's the worst thing that you can do. Instead, say something like this. All right, hey, I totally get that. Why don't we see what we can do in order to make this fit your expectation? See how I didn't use price in that sentence too? That's important. Don't ever say that. And now I'm going to suggest to them 3 different levels of this. And this is essentially what's called the anchoring strategy. You start off with your highest amount. Now you want to go ahead and compromise down from there to see what you can get, since you've already invested time into them and they've invested time into you. And this is how the conversation method works best. So I would say at this point, like, okay, cool, I hear you want this full illustration. Why don't we go ahead and remove the background? Then it would be this. How does that work for you? How about we go ahead and make it a half body? It would be this much. How does that work for you? All right, why don't we go ahead and make it a bust now? Then it would be this. How does that work for you? See how I keep repeating the same psychological elements? I'm asking them for permission, I'm telling them what they get, and I'm also helping them understand that this is not just about money to them. And also notice how I'm never using the word price. Now, am I guaranteeing that this works every time? Definitely not. So what do you do if you still can't make that sale? Let me come in hot on this. Now, if you're not able to make that sale, here's what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna ghost them, you're not gonna be rude to them, you're not gonna get angry, you're not gonna go ahead and cry, you're not gonna feel embarrassed, you're not gonna go ahead and feel any type of way. Instead, I want you to say this, Jem. I totally understand. Thank you so much for your time. I've loved learning about your project, and it was excellent talking to you today. If you wanna work with me together in the future, go ahead and reach out, because I'm right here for it. See how I did that? What did I do? I didn't get mad. I didn't brush them off. I showed appreciation. Every single time that a lead reaches out to you, you should show appreciation. It's an honor that they considered you. And send that back and put that forth in the universe, because that is what's going to attract more clients your way. And also, word of mouth gets around if you're a jerk. Now let's also go over this. What if they say, this Jem, this client says, I think I need a little bit of time to think on this. Okay, good. Guess what you're going to do usually at this point is say, okay, get back to me when you can. Don't do this. This is the worst thing that you can say. Don't just drop it at this point. Here's what you're going to do instead. If somebody says that to me, what I'm going to respond back with, totally understand. Hey, out of curiosity, could I follow up with you? How much time do you think you would need? And they might say, oh, I just need a few days, or I need a week. And then say this. Is it cool if I follow up with you in a week? Today's Monday. Is it okay if I follow up with you by Tuesday next week? Make a time frame to reach out to them. This shows that you are not weak. This shows that you are very interested, and it shows that you're willing to compromise on what you want, which is payment, and you're willing to give them time and space for it. But you're also going to go ahead and set a mental reminder or write it down or whatever you need to do so that you follow up with them. Now, what if they're a jerk at this point? Oh, this is terrible. How can you price that much? That's way more expensive than that. Do you know what you say back to that? Nothing. Not a thing. I will never respond to this jerk. And if they've revealed themselves as a jerk, then you just did yourself a favor. But now I know what you're thinking around this time, and I'm gonna address it. Now let's move into your reservations, because I fully understand what you might think and how people that are used to selling point of sale, oh, you just use this website and it has the prices and they either buy or they don't, and you're thinking that, oh, I have to be transparent or else I'm gonna come off as dishonest. None of that is true, and let me address them all one by one. Number one, you might think, will some clients not reach out? Yes, that is true. Mainly cheap clients and non-serious clients will not reach out to you. Also, just understand this. You are selling a premium service, which is your freelance work. You need to practice premium procedures for it. It sets a high value expectation. That's what we want. You might say, Sean, well, this is a waste of time. I went through all of this conversation, like you said, and then I didn't even get the sale. Okay, you're wrong. It's never a waste of time. It's training. One of the things I want to just put out there for you is that typical in any sales scenario, you are never going to close every single sale. If you do close way too many sales, like 60% or more, that just means that you're way undercharging, friend. And so the way I always think about it is that even if somebody doesn't buy from me, it's practice, it's training, it's learning what worked or what key phrases or what keywords to put in there, like the ones I'm sharing with you throughout this video, and which ones not to. Take note of that, analyze it for yourself. Another gem I typically hear as an objection to this is people will say, oh, but I don't want the client to feel embarrassed, Sean. They feel embarrassed. Oh, I can't afford you. Why? First off, that's their problem, not yours. Like, just to put this out there, you pass by thousands of things every single day that you cannot afford, and you're not in woe and lamenting it. It's not a big deal. Don't treat it as such. If the client comes off that way, that's their problem. That's not yours. You didn't make them feel that way. They made themselves feel that way. And again, it's not a waste of their time. Show appreciation. Be human. Be nice about it. Well, hey, look, I love hearing all about your story. If things change, go ahead and hit me up. I'd love to work with you. And then you don't have to feel embarrassed that you made them feel like that, because that wasn't you. But now you might be thinking, well, why not just go the traditional method? Yeah, we need to discuss that. Now, in opposition, you might think to yourself, well, Sean, why don't I just use a commission sheet? It's so much easier, and it has my pricing, and it saves both of us time. And here's what I want to say about that. You think that this is going to filter out clients, and you're partially right. It's filtering out clients that are not the best for you, that will not pay the rates that you want. And what you're doing is you're keeping yourself back, you're keeping yourself down by using a method that honestly does not work for anybody. You will be capped, like hard capped, at a certain price point and at a certain income level that you will just not be able to get over with this, because this attracts the cheapest clients. This is a practice that only undervaluing and undercharging artists practice. Literally nobody is doing a great job with this one, and hasn't been since this was introduced 20 years ago. And honestly, y'all can do so much better. And if you're not understanding exactly what's so bad about commission sheets and how toxic they are for your art practices, go ahead and check out this video right here where I'm going to tell you all about it, and nobody else is going to be dishonest with it. Thanks so much for watching. And if this helped you, please share it with somebody that you know. See you next time.